Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session of Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. My name is Lorena Sánchez, and today I'm delighted to be representing Internet Society. And I'm excited to be having a discussion about tech and tech careers with Valentina Daiber, board member and chief officer legal and corporate affairs of Telefónica Germany O2. Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in tech being recorded around the world between Girls in ICT Day 2020 and Girls in ICT Day 2022. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the fourth Thursday of each April. In 2021, Girls in ICT Day was 22nd April. The objectives of Girls in ICT Day are help to create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider studies and careers in the growing field of information and communication technologies. The Talking Tech series is brought to you by the ITU, YNICC, and the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy of Youth, and is in support of Equals, the global partnership for gender equality in the digital age. Internet Society is pleased to be a partner on this session today. The goals of the series include to interest and inspire girls and younger women with information about a range of ICT careers that can be had, bring before a broader audience some of the role model women in tech and share information about their career journeys and work, and offer diverse examples of how ICT is being used to support achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and the other UN goals. So to kick this session off, I'm delighted to now shift to a conversation with Valentina Daiber from Telefónica Germany O2. So Valentina, just to introduce a bit yourself, tell us what is your job in tech now, and please tell us a bit of your areas of influence on technology.
Thank you. Of course I will do, but first let me start with thanking you for having me this afternoon. I'm very delighted to have this conversation with you today. So yeah, in order to introduce myself, I think you have said already most of the things. I'm a board member at Telefónica Germany O2. I'm the Chief Officer Legal and Corporate Affairs, and this includes areas like legal, of course, compliance, corporate security, data protection, regulatory affairs, but also the public affairs area, which includes then the relations with authorities and the government, and additionally, the Department of Corporate Responsibility, the sustainability area. And all of them, from my perspective, very crucial aspects for a technology company, very, very important. And in one sentence, I would say I'm interdisciplinary lawyer working for a technology company that democratizes the access to a sustainable digital future to create a better everyday for everyone.
Well, honestly, it is super interesting to have you here, particularly because you are not the usual technical position that we're used to see. So tell us, how did you get into technology, and how did you say, okay, I'm a lawyer, but I'm gonna be in technology now? What was your path from then to now?
So I would say I followed a kind of continuous path. So always looking for interesting areas in that I could make a difference. That was always important to me. I didn't plan that in detail, but in retrospect, I would say the single step on the path made perfect sense. So each single step, studying law, focusing on media law, working for a telecommunications company that developed then later into an enabler for digitization. And when I started my studies, I did not have a concrete job in my mind. So it was during the studies, so in the later years of my studies, I started working as a freelancer at the Institute for European Media Law. And I would say this has set then the course for that interdisciplinary path in which I dealt with economics, law, and technology. So these three areas came together while I was working there, and that was super exciting for me. So because I never had that plan, and until that point of time, I didn't realize that there is that special area of law. And accordingly, of course, I continued to pursue in that area during my legal clerkship. And then I would say the further path was then the logical result. But as said, I didn't have a concrete career plan. And then in 1999, I started to work as a legal officer in Telefónica, Germany. By that point of time, it was not a Telefónica company. It was a joint venture called Fiat Intercom, and then later on it became Telefónica. And during that time, so since 1999, I took over, I would say, a variety of tasks and positions. And it was not only me, but the whole company and maybe the whole sector was always moving over time. And I was moving within the company from one position to another. I always say it was not a single day it was boring. Yeah, so it was always exciting. And as said, there was also a time where I moved out of the legal area in the communication area. So there was a lot of change, but particularly that interdisciplinarity that I talked about, that was the factor that was fascinating me, that different areas are coming together in your job description.
Yeah.
But what about you? I mean, I saw in your vita that you're also not a technician, but also working in technology. So how did you get into technology?
Yeah, exactly. Well, in fact, I see eye to eye with you that you never get bored in this field. It's every day you are learning something new, and it moves forward all the time. So it's something super exciting. But it was interesting to hear you, because I see a bit of myself in your story as well, because like my path was more or less similar. I studied law and politics, but I had always had this interest in technology. So then I discovered the data protection and cybersecurity law, technological law, and I loved that. I realized that what I loved was the challenges of the technology and how they impact on society. So that's why I started in data protection and cybersecurity consultancy for some years. And in fact, one of my jobs was in Telefónica as well. So I was some time in Telefónica. And then I studied a master's in media and communications governance. So after that, it led me to fall in love with research, this intersection between technology and society. And it also led me to pursue the PhD in the field of human-computer interaction that I'm doing now, because it's the same. It's this intersection between technology and society and how people behave, and it's very exciting and full of challenges. So it's like I see a bit of myself in your story as well. And of course, it is super interesting because we're talking about non-technical people that didn't study engineering, nothing related to computer and science. So it's very interesting to see these non-technical profiles. And do you think there's room for these profiles like social scientists or lawyers, psychologists? What do you think about them?
Absolutely. I think digitization needs non-technical profiles to succeed, for sure. I strongly believe that, especially for the development and implementation of new technologies, interdisciplinary collaboration is an absolutely must. Yeah? And I mean, simply look at digitization. So we don't leave the digitization to IT specialists, of course. So we tackle the chances and challenges of the digital age with a variety of disciplines, and you named already some of them. So for example, philosophers, they look into the ethical questions of autonomous driving, for example. Psychologists advise on platform designs or the use of digital devices by children. Or economists, they look into the consequences of robotics for the job market. Nurses, medical doctors provide crucial insights into their daily work to help companies in the development of digital assistants in the medical sector and care. And of course, the lawyers, they deal with market regulation and consumer rights in the digital age. And I mean, everything is still developing. There might be so many other profiles that we even don't know at the moment. Yeah, so everything is permanently developing, and so many new job profiles are coming up, and I think it's one of the most exciting areas to be in, because we are just at the beginning of digitization, and there is so much to develop and to detect.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, you said something super interesting, that some jobs that we don't know yet that will come as well from non-technical people, social scientists that in the future will be working on tech, and that maybe we don't know yet, this kind of jobs. And in fact, it's super interesting what you mentioned about the interdisciplinarity, because for me, it's necessary. Even you come from a non-technical background, you need to know technology. For me, if you want to work in an interdisciplinary environment, you need to know technology, or at least to have this interest in knowing what's behind technicalities and what's going on there. Even you are not the tech person, but I feel that if you are a lawyer, you want to regulate algorithms, you need to know what an algorithm is. It's crucial. It's crucial to know what they do or not. And also, it's super interesting to see, and well, to have better said, it's necessary, I would say, to have a very critical and open mind to these new aspects of technology, because sometimes some technical people are more used to focused on only one side, the technology per se, but there are so much more behind, and there are so many consequences that you need to consider as in a broader sense, I mean. So I think you need a very critical and really open mind to work if in this interdisciplinary way. And in fact, you mentioned a very good example with the lawyers of consumer protection in digital landscape. If you want to be a consumer protection lawyer, you need to know what algorithms are or what e-commerce do, because otherwise you won't be able to regulate or to carry a process to defend consumers protection. It's impossible. So I think this is an important topic that we need to bring as we're doing, because so many people, so many young professionals especially, and people at universities are not aware of that. There are so many professionals now that they are young professionals that are studying law, for instance, and they are not told about the possibilities of being in technology at university. So what would you advise them, Valentina?
Yeah, I think you are absolutely right. So universities provide you with a kind of toolkit, yeah. So the legal knowledge and a toolkit with what you are then starting into your professional life. But of course, you have always to look left and right, yeah. So be curious. So this is of course one of my advices. Yeah, look left and right. Be curious. Check out where you can apply, and just try what seems to be interesting for you. So from my perspective, so when I said I always love that interdisciplinary work, so for me, that's the special thing is to have different professions in one area, yeah. As for example, in regulation, where you have lawyers, economists, technicians, and everyone is explaining each other what is behind, yeah, and that makes it so yeah, exciting, yeah. But the other point you also mentioned from my perspective is look for role models. So from my perspective, role models are really crucial. So you can get so many exciting examples if you look around, yeah. And then maybe my second advice would be, if you find something what is seems to be interesting to you, just try it, yeah. So for example, in technology, just try it, give it a try, and better run in the wrong direction than do nothing. Yeah? So that would be would be my second advice. And additionally, there's one aspect, yeah, which comes up to my mind. Even if you are not in technology, so if you are not a technician, you can't do without technology, of course. So in fact, we will see more and more jobs that make also lawyers' jobs easier. Yeah? I speak about automation, yeah, that repetitive processes will be automated over time, or that for example, artificial intelligence will be used in your daily work. So we had an example in Telefónica O2 in some months ago. We used an artificial intelligence, a search engine, which helped us in a merger and acquisition transaction, yeah? And so this was completely new to us, and I think those topics are now coming frequently, and so my advice is, yeah, keep your eyes open, be interested, and use whatever is possible, and then the best of both worlds is coming together.
Yes, yes. In fact, I don't know if you have the feeling, but when it comes to automation of repetitive processes, as you said, I feel there are so many even experienced professionals that are kind of afraid of them.
Yeah.
They believe they are not very interested in knowing how they work, because maybe they are afraid of it, maybe they're losing their job, which is totally the opposite. Is to make your job
Make
better.
room, yeah? Make room for new jobs.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a super interesting point as well. In fact, I want to connect with one thing that you said about the role models of in technology, because if I would have to give an advice to some students, I would say more or less the same. Take a role model, and if you don't find you can't find a role model, look for it, look through the internet, because you will have so many civil society actors in your area, in your country, some local actors that are working on technology and society, and learning from them, it's the best way to understand the challenges now between the challenges of technology in society and how to manage them. So I think that for young people that are now quite lost in technology. Looking for these role models and these actors that are actually working on the ground. Looking for them is super important to learn as well.
And it's also an inspiration, right? So if you think about what we talked about before, when I said, so when I started my studies, I was completely open where this ends up, yeah. And during this time, it also helped me to look at other female managers or lawyers, what they are doing, and to get an inspiration of what is possible. I think this is also helpful, because I would say most of the people are not 100% clear where they will end up when they start their education. And
Yeah,
also from that perspective, I think role models are absolutely key.
yeah, because it is highly likely that somebody already did what you did and made the mistakes that you don't want to make. So it's necessary to ask people. It's something that you have to do. Ask people, even if you don't know them. I think so, because now we have the full of possibilities of contacting people, just to ask, of course, always politely, but to ask for advice, to say, hey, I see what you did, I like what you did, and I want to start, and I don't know how. And I think that's a very positive thing that we have today, when it comes to connections and social networking, because it's a possibility of learning from others and try to, yeah, to get their experience. So if you don't mind, I wanted to know a bit more, as you as a leader in tech. If let's move a bit the topic, because I want to ask you a bit, as you as a leader, because fortunately nowadays there are more women on high level responsibility roles. However, this was not very common some few years ago, and for us, myself included, as youngest professionals, talking to you is an inspiration for us. It is absolutely. I'm enjoying so much this conversation, because I think it's super necessary, as I said, talking to people like you, and I feel this experience can also inspire so many girls around the world. But unfortunately, technical world also has its own difficulties. For instance, there were recently a campaign on Twitter, the InfoSec Bikini, to support a transgender woman that works in cybersecurity, who was harassed for taking a picture of herself wearing a bikini. So I don't know if you felt any complicated experience during your career, but I would love if you could share some advice to young professionals for the future career. Maybe what can they do when they feel like underestimated or even excluded, because sometimes you feel like even excluded from the system in this tech world.
Yeah, it's an important topic that you're addressing. So I would say if you feel excluded or even harassed and discriminated, be brave. Huh? Use your legal rights and find supporters. And if this doesn't work, be assured there are so many other options out there. Yeah? What I mean with that, I mean, I don't think that harassment or exclusion is in particular a difficulty in the technical world. Huh? Unfortunately, it still exists in many areas of our work and everyday life, and it is an issue that we can't ignore, and we have to stand up against wherever we get aware of it. So that's clear. In my experience, harassment and discrimination are in the business world more the exception than the rule. Luckily. And if a person experiences this difficulty in her or his job, I would like to encourage him or her, use your legal rights and find supporters. And if nothing else helps, find a better company. And if you feel that you are underestimated, then I would say first ask yourself whether you have made it clear and explicit for your environment, huh? What you're good at and what you want to achieve. Also, this is a matter of standing up and being confident. And I've experienced it very often in my professional life that very often I have to say young women are lacking this self-confidence and are doubting and are not clear about the targets and do not stand up for their goals. Yeah? And I think this is very much this is very important. If your boss or the leaders in your company don't know about that you want to grow, no one might ask you maybe. Huh? So you have to be clear about what you want to achieve. And if this doesn't work, again, I would also say here, there are so many other companies that will value your talent. Just don't be afraid of changing your environment.
Yeah, maybe the problem
sorry, let me add a last sentence, coming back to the topic of harassment. And so, I mean, in more than 20 years of my job, I was really lucky that I personally never experienced harassment or discrimination. So I work, and I'm very proud of it, I work in a company that welcomes diversity. And I would say, look out for those companies. It's real.
Yeah, exactly, because sometimes it's not your place because it's not your problem. In fact, maybe the problem is the company in which you are, if you are not supported, you know. Yeah, so honestly, thank you very much for these words, because I think they are truly inspirational for young professionals, and I really appreciate it so much, honestly. So if you don't mind, let's move forward, and because we were talking about the need of these non-technical roles in technology as a necessity, and I also feel that these profiles can also help so much to build the future society, but also to contribute the UN Sustainable Development Goals. What are, in your opinion, well, the main challenges for the companies in technology when it comes to contributing these goals, and what can technology do for these goals, or even these profiles, to reach these goals?
So I think a lot. That would be the beginning. So I'm always saying, so digitization is for me the backbone for a sustainable economy and the clue for social participation. So what do I mean with that? So if we push really ahead with digitization quickly and responsibly, it can become the path to greater general prosperity, social cohesion, and climate protection as well. So it's really the backbone. So there are a lot of studies, a lot of European studies that show that an economy can achieve up to 1.9% more growth per year by increasing its level of digitization. And even in the current economic crisis, we see that digitized companies adapt more quickly to the new situation and come through the crisis much better than other companies. But clearly, a resilient company or resilient economy is not an end in itself. Prosperity must also reach people fairly. And studies also show that a higher level of economic performance comes on average along with more social justice. Last but not least, we do not know, we do of course know that alone in Germany, we can reduce our CO2 emissions up to 37% in 2030 thanks to digitization. And I would even say we can't do that without digitization. Yeah, so digitization is really the accelerator for those topics. And on the other side, of course, you have challenges. We have to make sure that everybody has equal access to digitization, stable, fast, and affordable, and that people are empowered to use digital technologies securely and in a self-determined manner. We have to make sure that we handle the increasing amount of data with the highest possible energy efficiency. An example from my industry, the new 5G standard is up to 90% more energy efficient than the previous mobile standards, the previous generations. And a third point, maybe we have to make sure that we dramatically increase the availability and use of energy from renewable resources. And also here an example from my company, as Telefónica Germany, we do use already 100% green energy. But however, in Germany, overall, the share of renewable energies in the electricity mix was just over 50% in 2020. So there is still a lot of room for improvement. But I'm a super optimistic person. So despite all the challenges, I strongly believe that technology will help to reach the sustainability goals.
Yeah.
What do you think about that topic? So
yeah, for sure. I completely agree with you. You made like some great points. In fact, when it comes to the equal access of digitalization, I absolutely agree with you. We need to increase the accessibility of digital devices and to cover the digital divides to reduce inequalities in general. But also, I want to like give the bad side of all of that. That we also have to be also cautious with with this topic. I must be careful with that because they use there are some experiences and some evidence that say that some the increase of digitalization and some technologies are also increasing other inequalities, such as racial inequalities or LGBTI inequalities, for instance, with the use of algorithms. So it's important to know that not necessarily always more technology means better society. We also need to strike a balance to foster technology. But of course, it's one of the most important things we need to do, like increase digitalization for everyone and to guarantee an equal access for everyone. And also the point that you made about the efficiency and the energy, we have a big issue here when it comes to the increase of digitalization and the pollution that infrastructures cause. So we also have a big challenge here. And I was also thinking that in this kind of challenges, there are so many profiles that are not related to technology that are crucial here, but they are related to environment probably more in other areas that they are not used to be, but we need them here. In fact, there was a super interesting experiment with a data center that reuses the heat of the servers to create electricity for the nearby villages. And what I feel is that we need creative solutions for all of that. These challenges need smart, but also like creative and out of the box solutions. And that's why we need more people involved in these processes. I think so.
Yeah, here the circle closes again. Yeah, so yeah, the topic that we discussed before. So I think here it comes together again.
Exactly. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Thinking about the sustainability development goals. How all of these closes because we need this diversity of people to face these challenges as well. And also it is super interesting to consider how the analytics of big amounts of data can also help to reduce the waste of food, for instance, and also to reduce pollution in water, because the capacity we have nowadays to analyze the crops, the how the agriculture are planned, the supply chain management, and how all the food production is made, um, it will help us to reduce waste. To sorry, let me rephrase it. To avoid the wasting food and to be more productive with and more sensitive to how we develop this manufacturing these products. I'm sorry, I don't know if I made myself clear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have perfectly described all the opportunities of digitization. Yeah, that's exactly. So for me, the summary is in one sentence to say we have to make sure that we use digitization in a responsible and sustainable manner. And if we are doing so, then we can take the best out of digitization with a goal of social and economic welfare. And I think you perfectly described with your examples how this could work. And as said, it brings the circle together, because it also shows many opportunities for new job profiles, many opportunities for young people to find their place in a technology profession.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel the same. I I wouldn't say better what you said. I totally subscribe what you say. So I don't know if you have any concluding remarks that you would like to say, or something that we missed that you want to include for finishing our conversation. Or
I think it was a perfect way from how you can develop what could come up on the way, and how it could end up in a super interesting, exciting job. So I think we have made a lot of good examples. At least I hope so, that we have been an inspiration for the people who are watching the video.
yeah, absolutely. So then finally, I only have to say thank you for coming and for having this super interesting conversation. I really enjoyed that. I truly thank you for having this conversation today. So that's wraps up our session today for Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. And thank you so much, Valentina, for coming. I really enjoyed our chat today, and thank you so much to our viewers for watching us.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure.